I regret leaving the military. Now, I first want to start by saying this. I'm not making this video for pity or for any sympathy. This is just real, and I want to share my experience. So, about 2 months ago, I decided to not continue with my entry level in Army training. I was there at Fort Jackson, and I was at the O9 Mike program. If you don't know what the O9 Mike program is, it's not the traditional entry into the Army where you go straight to basic training. It is a basic training like training where you are there to pass the ASVAB. I was there for 3 months and I didn't pass the ASVAB twice. And instead of using my third time and getting wavered into the Army, I decided to come on home. And after being home for 2 months, I kind of regret my decision. I'll be 100% honest with you. A lot of people there, the drill sergeants, my battle buddies, were trying to motivate me, trying to keep me from making the decision to go back home, but I was kind of stuck in my way. And I'll be honest, now that I can reflect on it, I don't think I genuinely wanted to come home. I think I was more so influenced by the others that made their decision to come back home, and I also was upset because I couldn't pass the ASVAB. There, while I was in the Army and trying to do the entry level training, it felt really good, to be honest with you. Putting on that uniform every day, seeing my last name on my chest and the Army logo patch, it was really good. And I felt like I was clouded by all negativity because I was so worried about my YouTube channel back home. I was in my feelings, feeling like I was a failure because I wasn't passing the ASVAB. I felt like no one was going to watch my YouTube channel no more, which, since being back home, is far from the truth. All my loyal watchers are still back supporting me, and that was all in my mind while I was there. I could never really just focus on that task at home at Fort Jackson because I was so worried about everything else. And I really wish I could just go back, but I understand that now that I decided to get discharged, it's not an honorably discharge or anything. It's a general, but since I decided to, not move forward, it's probably going to be harder for me to re-enter in the Army if I wanted to, because a lot of the recruiters are going to have to give me a waiver, and they probably not going to want to look at me for a waiver in the future. So I most likely am going to have to look at different career opportunities, but it definitely sucks because I thought the civilian world is where I wanted to be, but after being back home for 2 months, I realized it's nothing different. Everything that I left home for in January to go in the Army, it's literally the same. Job opportunities are much more harder in the civilian world. Granted, the pay is better, obviously, but the job security in the Army is nothing like it. And I was going to get a job, and I was going to be able to always get money and always have something to do and work forward towards. And I just never saw it like that. I never did. I always was afraid of the worst. I always thought of the worst. I thought I was going to get stuck with infantry because I didn't score this amount on the ASVAB there. And it turns out everyone that decided to get wavered in or had to get wavered in on their third attempt of failing got better jobs than people passing. So I definitely was hurt about that. And all of my battle buddies that I came in with, they're about to graduate basic training next week. Next Thursday, they're graduating basic training. And my two dogs, man, my two best friends that I made there, they I'm proud of them, and they tried to keep me going, and I just was stuck in my way, man. And I honestly do regret it now that I can say, now that I can be home for 2 months and say, I wish I did stay in the Army. I wish I did been able to see where my path took me. Um, and I just want to say to the people, again, this is not sympathy or this is not looking for pity. This is strictly for people that are in my shoes or trying to go into the Army and enter that force. If you make the decision to join the Army, please honor that commitment. Honestly, because I don't want anyone to end up like me. I don't want no one to feel regret of their decision of leaving. You know what I'm saying? Unless you genuinely feel like you had enough and you don't want to continue with the Army training or military training in general, okay. Or if you have a real severe reason, like I had a guy that was there that genuinely did not want to do that because he had a family at home that he left behind. He genuinely just missed his family. You know what I'm saying? So there are people that decide to not continue on training for legit purposes. But if you're like me, where you really just didn't know what you wanted to do, you felt like, you know what I'm saying, you weren't proceeding, or you wasn't making progress, or you wasn't going to succeed, that's far from the truth. You know what I'm saying? As long as you stay at it, as long as you keep going and not give up, you were going to pass at some point. At some point, if I would have stayed down and I would have kept going, I would have got a waiver, and I probably would have got a good job. I probably wouldn't have got infantry or something like that. You know, but I made the decision to stop in my tracks, and now I have to live with that guilt and regret forever. It's definitely tough because, again, I know deep down inside I want to be a soldier. I want to be an airman. I want to be a marine, or a navy, whatever they call their people. I know I wanted to be a part of the military in some capacity, but I just gave up, and so it sucks, but you got to deal with it. So again, to my people that have made the commitment or thinking about joining the Army or military, if you ship out to wherever basic training you're going to, Fort Jackson, Lackland Air Force Base, Chicago for the Navy, Paris Campbell, or the San Diego one for the Marines, if you ship out, I promise you it is going to get better. Take it from my word. It may suck, but if you keep pushing, keep going, you're going to be happy at the end of the day. You don't want to end up like me and end up sitting here back at home wishing they would have stayed in said military. You know, so that's just my venting, my session, my honest take on my situation. Now I'm back here. I'm 20 years old. I know I'm young. I still got a lot of life left, and I know I can figure out something, but I'm back here at square one. Having to figure out what I'm going to do. And the Army or the military in itself isn't something I can just run to again until maybe 6 months from now. And even 6 months from now, it's no guarantee that any recruiter would take me serious because of my decision to leave. Let me know what y'all think about it down below in the comment section. As always, been your boy Chewy, a.k.a. Juan Gotti. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe.